What is going on, everybody? My name is Justin, and welcome to the Fly Guys podcast, a podcast about travel, whether it be airline travel, car rentals, hotels, different vacation packages, different destinations, basically everything travel. We are going to talk about it here. Now, let me start off by saying the reason this is called the Fly Guys and not the Fly Guy is after this episode, from here on out, hopefully, we will have a co-host. His name is Andrew. He is a current corporate travel agent. He's feeling a little bit under the weather today, but I wanted to go ahead and get something up for you guys, so I went ahead and recorded this one, but we will see him on the next. As for me, my name is Justin. I am a former corporate travel agent as well as a former leisure travel agent, as well as working as a ramp agent for an airline and a housekeeper at a hotel. So I've been all over the hospitality and travel industry. It's something that I love. It's my passion. It's still a hobby of mine to study airlines. And I'm hoping to bring a little more into this channel where I actually get to travel myself and show you guys some other places and things like that. Now, I say show you guys because for those of you listening to the audio version on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Anchor, there is also a video version of this podcast going up to my channel on YouTube. Name of the channel is The Fly Guys, and I will go ahead and put links in the description to the audio version on the YouTube video. Not sure what I'm able to do with the podcast, if I'm able to link that, but there will be audio-only segments on most episodes that you will only be able to get by listening to the full audio of the podcast. So I hope you go ahead and check both out. When there's more than just me sitting here talking with a microphone, it'll definitely be more entertaining to go check out that video side. So what I wanted to jump into today, is airline bankruptcies. So back in March, an airline called WOW Airlines that flew budget routes from the U.S. and Canada into Iceland ceased operations out of nowhere. When that happened, basically people were stuck. The airline didn't have customer service representatives to re-protect people or gate agents to re-protect people on other airlines because they were completely shut down. All operations had completely ceased. Luckily, some other airlines jumped in, but most of the time when this happens, people don't necessarily have the money they need to be able to get home. Travel insurance will commonly cover this. However, a lot of people don't do travel insurance. I personally never have, and as a travel agent, I never necessarily recommended it, except for when I was encouraged to for sales reasons, but we'll get into that in another episode. But people really had to rely on the kindness of other airlines to get them home and re-protect them. Luckily, that did end up happening, and most people were able to get home, but even if you had travel insurance, that money can be months and months down the road once you actually file a claim. So what I really wanted to jump into and talk about is just how many airlines have gone bankrupt since 2001 just here in America. I will touch on some other airlines as well. So the biggest one that all of us are probably going to remember here in the United States, Trans World Airlines, TWA. It was January 10th, 2001, and they filed bankruptcy and were acquired by American Airlines. Now, obviously, American Airlines was already a large carrier at the time, weren't going to be able to take on all of their employees, and they lost a ton of employees. A ton of employees lost their jobs. One of those employees was actually my mother, and that's oddly enough part of the reason that I'm interested in travel today. She was a reservations agent for TWA at their call center here in St. Louis downtown. And when they went under, she lost her job, and it took a couple of years, and she ended up back in travel at another travel agency. I watched her move from one position to the other, kind of saw what she did for a living, and fell in love with the actual job of being a travel agent myself. And it's been a hobby of mine, as well as an interest of mine, and a career path of mine now. Basically, I was 18 years old when I got my first job as a travel agent doing rewards travel for a credit card rewards company. So from there to where I'm at today, my most recent job was as a corporate travel agent. Currently not in the travel industry. Part of that is because I want to be able to focus on this and give you guys my true unbiased opinion. I've worked for 3 of the 5 largest corporate travel management companies in America, and actually in the world. So I think that allows me to have a unique perspective. But getting back on subject here to the airlines that have filed bankruptcy, some of them may surprise you because not all of them ceased operations. U.S. Airways. Now, obviously, they're not around today. They were later acquired. However, August 11th, 2002, they filed bankruptcy protection. They were able to reform their structure, came out of bankruptcy on March 31st, 2003. United Airlines. Now, obviously, they are still around, and they're one of the largest carriers in the game today. My personal opinion of them isn't all that great. However, they do carry a lot of passengers and have a lot of loyal, dedicated travelers on their airline. December 9th, 2002, also right after 2001, they entered that protection. It took them 4 years to come out. February 1st, 2006, so I guess really closer to 3, they came out of bankruptcy protection. Another one that some people may not know about, especially in the States, would be Air Canada. It was April 1st, 2003 when they filed for protection. Just over a year taking to come out. 2004 in September, they were able to clear that. U.S. Airways, we are going to come back to again. September 12th, 2004, they file again. So only about a year and a half after coming out of bankruptcy, they file bankruptcy again. September 27, 2005, it's in conjunction with its acquisition by Accusation? Wrong word. Acquisition by America West. So we see America West basically take on U.S. Airways. That would kind of be their end. Let's see. What else do we have? We have Aloha Airlines. 2004 filed it. Came out in 2006. Their cargo division has continued as Aloha Cargo Air. Northwest Airlines. This was one of the largest carriers to go down. They were a very large carrier at the time. They filed September 14, 2005. They ceased operations and merged with Delta and came out of bankruptcy May 31st, 2007. The interesting thing is Delta Airlines would actually file bankruptcy that same day and would come out of bankruptcy April 30th of 2007. The one that I remember the most, that's the most similar to this WOW Air situation, was ATA Airlines. So ATA was a lower budget carrier, domestic carrier, had a lot of flights to Hawaii, if I remember correctly. At least that's where I usually booked clients to. April 3rd, 2008, they filed bankruptcy. That same day, they ceased operations. This also happened with Skybus 2 days later on April 5th in 2008. And then on April 10th, 2008, Frontier filed. Everybody thought Frontier was going to cease operations, but on October 1st, 2009, they were actually able to come out of that. Now they're one of the low-budget carriers that actually does relatively well in the U.S. So there's quite a few other airlines that have filed bankruptcy within America. Mesa Airlines is one of them. You may not be familiar with them because they would be a smaller regional carrier who does code shares. So they would fly flights like American Eagle, American Connection, things like that. American Airlines actually did file bankruptcy in 2011, came out in 2013, and emerges American Airlines Group. I'm trying to think of the other big things. Pinnacle Airlines. So for those of you not in the travel industry that don't know much about code shares, basically it's when a large company, in this case it would be Delta Airlines, hires a smaller carrier or allows a smaller carrier such as Pinnacle to fly a regional route, and that flight, when it's booked, will say Delta Airlines as operated by or Pinnacle Airlines. So a lot of people didn't know where Pinnacle went. They basically changed their name to Endeavor Air. They are still flying today as a Delta codeshare partner. So it is not uncommon for airlines to go under. These are some of the bigger airlines that have happened, and then there's other airlines that have just ceased operations because they've failed. And that's where I want to pass a question off to you guys. Do you feel safe flying on a lower budget carrier? As a travel agent, I have always recommended Southwest Airlines as one of the best carriers to fly on. They have been able to keep fares low because of a really good contract they made on jet fuel back during that recession. I believe that contract is almost up, but honestly, they're just so big now that it's hard to, turn down. Some people don't like their seating format where you have to go and choose your own seat. I personally think that's a benefit. If I don't have an assigned seat, I can choose wherever I want to sit on the plane. And to be in a higher boarding group, you either just have to be one of the first ones to check in or an A-list member with Rapid Rewards, which doesn't take much. So I really enjoy flying Southwest. Spirit Airlines, however, that is a big no-no to me. People who, whenever they fly Spirit, I will personally tell them I don't necessarily recommend it. And I don't want to say anything negative about them without giving some context as to why. I have had dozens of clients who their Spirit flight either missed something or really it just ended up being more expensive than flying Southwest or Delta or even American because of all the extra fees. So part of the reason Southwest is a great low budget carrier is they are one of the only low budget carriers where you are able to bring your bags for free. You get 2 check bags and a carry-on. That's unprecedented even for the larger non-low budget carriers, just the normal mid-range airlines and the higher ones. You know, Delta, United, American, you generally have to pay for your bag on all of them unless you have status in the frequent flyer program. So if you fly a lot, that's a little bit different. But it's something that's uncommon in the industry today. So having to have a little bit less leg room and not having an assigned seat doesn't seem that bad when you're saving that much money. I will say in my experience on Southwest Airlines, I have never sat in a middle seat. I have been on completely full flights where I make sure that I check in 24 hours ahead of time at the exact second that I can check in. Always had a window or an aisle, whichever one I preferred. The legroom is a little tight, but that's becoming more common on every airline. And the snack and beverage service, in my opinion, on Southwest, as well as the flight attendants, not only just as good, maybe better. The only thing that's an exception is obviously they don't have food for purchase available. So that's something that may be a little bit different than a long-haul flight across the country on American, Delta, United, any of your other big carriers. So that's kind of my 2 cents there. Frontier. A lot of people dislike Frontier. As a St. Louisan, there's 2 routes where Frontier makes the most sense, even if there's extra fees, and that is Las Vegas and Orlando, Florida. Excuse me. There are days when you can pay between $29 and $49 one way. There's times when you can get a round-trip ticket for less than $60 to go to Orlando, Florida. The next cheapest one, by far, I mean, it's going to be at least $250, and that's on a good day when United has some sort of sale going on. So, a huge discount there. You do have to pay for your bags. However, they have a membership program called The Den, where that's automatically included, or you can pay for the works. It's like it adds up to being about another $150, where you're still paying less than you would pay for any other airline. They do not have free snacks on board. They do not have free drinks on board. You have to pay for those things. So if you want to have food or drink while you're on your flight, I would recommend buying it either at the airport or bringing it with you ahead of time and taking it in. Most things like that, as long as it's closed and you're going through security, you're fine if it's not an open item. Otherwise, almost every airport has fast food, Burger King, Wendy's, something like that, where you can grab something real quick and take it on board with you. But Orlando's a family destination, so being able to fly with all your kids and things like that makes a huge difference. If you don't get the works, something that is a possibility with those larger airlines, or with those budget airlines like Frontier, if you don't want to pay for the works and you only want to have one person pay for the bags or one person pay for that and not have assigned seats, you can do that. Maybe one person pays for 2 check bags and 2 carry-ons, and you're a family of 4 kids and 2 adults. That's what my family is. And you can fit everything in that, then great. You're actually saving even more money because you're not paying for bags for every single person. A lot of hotels have the option of having things shipped to the hotel, and they'll keep it at the front desk for you or have it in your room when you get there. You can do that with your luggage if you want to. Just know that it's going to be there on that exact date, but it's not a problem for most hotels to do that for you, and most of them will do it happily without a fee. So that's something that you can keep in mind, where you may save even more money depending on how far away you are from the destination. From St. Louis to Orlando, it probably makes more sense for me to pay to take 2 large pieces of luggage and 2 carry-ons, but I can guarantee you I can fit everything for my family in there. So I don't think personally that Frontier is that bad. Some people do. They do have a limited number of flights between St. Louis and Las Vegas, so if your flight gets canceled, it may be a couple days before they can get you on another one. And they don't have code share partners the same way as the larger airlines do, so that can be a problem. Southwest, I have heard people complain that that's an issue, that there's no partners where they can re-protect them on another flight. However, it almost doesn't matter because Southwest operates so many flights per day, and most of them being direct, that even no matter where your destination is, Southwest is going to be able to get you on another Southwest plane and get you home still in a reasonable amount of time. Obviously, I'm not accounting for weather delays. That's gonna happen no matter where you are, and if it's happening to one airline, it's happening to them all because it's the FAA and their air traffic control that is grounding those flights, not the airline. So, keeping those things in mind, I think the question that I really want to pass off to you guys is about travel insurance. Do you guys find that it's something that you need to have, or do you, not think it's that important? And how much do you end up paying for your flights? Do you have a certain airline that you fly? Is there only one that you're willing to get on that you dedicate all your business to? Same with hotels and car rental companies. Is there one that you trust and they've done you well, so you don't care what the price is, you'll go with them? I find all of that really interesting, and I think all of our listeners are going to find that interesting as well. So I am going to take a short break here for just a moment. I'll be right back with you. And I am back. Thank you guys for sticking with me. For those of you on the video version, you didn't miss anything. For those of you on the audio version, just a little ad break there, but we are right back with it. So basically, that's all I really wanted to talk about this week. The airlines that have gone bankrupt and the issues that may cause for travelers, whether it be needing to find a hotel for the night, get on another airplane. I really want to hear from you guys what your stories are. Because of that, I will be sharing that link. In addition to asking us questions, you are welcome to share your stories with us anytime. It's definitely something that we find entertaining and interesting to listen to, and educational. Maybe one traveler can learn from the way you handled it from another one. So that is all I wanted to talk about today. This is a relatively short podcast, but I did just want to come on here, kind of introduce you and let us know what it's going to be. As for our posting schedule, I am not sure what is going to happen, exactly how that's going to look, but I will have more information for you on the next one. So thank you guys very much for listening and watching, and I'll see you next time.